Treasure pieces cross the board. We played this little game before. Don't need my love no more. Don't need my love. Trade your queen out for a pawn. Just the moves you've always counted on. Don't need my love no more. Let me show you the door. And I said, okay, I found whatever. Pack your bags and leave. Thought you were just so clever with things.
Welcome to T-Bone's Best of Roanoke Show. Music, comedy, and conversation featuring HB. Wow. The Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
Now, on with the show.
Okay.
Are we ready, HB?
We are ready, T-Bone.
Are you guys ready?
Yep.
We're ready.
All right. This is Radio Free Roanoke. It's episode 198, HB.
Wow.
T-Bone's Best of Roanoke Show. HB, have you ever been bitten by a lightning bug?
A lightning bug. I guess could.
But probably not.
No.
Well, I've been bitten by two. Kendra and Zach.
And here they
Harding.
are.
Kendra and Zach Harding, the Brown Mountain Lightning Bugs. Welcome back to Roanoke.
Thank you for having
Glad
us.
to be here. Yeah.
My goodness, do you remember coming to Roanoke? I saw you last month at Third Street Coffee House. I know you tour a lot. Do you remember that one?
I
Oh
do.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
That
one
was
of
a
our
good one.
favorites.
Okay, so you don't mind coming back to Roanoke?
No.
Was they're out of North Carolina?
Yes, sir.
What town? City?
We tell everybody Winston-Salem, but really it's a town called Germantown, which is in Stokes County.
Germantown. Okay. All right.
Well, I got to tell you, HB, I went to Third Street Coffee House, and I didn't know who was playing. And they started playing. They have a very good chemistry up on stage. It's charming. And the music that they played was original songs. Their vocals, they shared vocals. Their harmonies were so good. Played lots of different instruments, which we'll get into.
Okay.
And it was like catnip to my ears.
Yeah.
And I was thumb tapping and toe tapping. So I said, well, let's see if they'll do an interview. And here they are. So thank you so much.
Yes.
So let's start here. Is it true that you two met on a snowy night somewhere in North Carolina in 2016 or so? Or how did all that happen? How did the Brown Mountain Bugs come together?
So it was 2014.
14.
Yep.
14,
And I hosted an open mic in Hendersonville, North Carolina, up in the mountains. And Kendra was at in college at the time. You're doing an internship for a studio in Asheville, and she came to my open mic and started playing music, and I started talking to her. I didn't realize I crashed a date that she was on.
Oh.
Had no clue.
Way to go, Zach.
Yeah. But then we started playing music after that, and then we did that for about a year, and then decided that it was easier to just go ahead and be married to keep the music going. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Two can eat cheaper than one. That's what
That's
my
true.
dad used to
Yep.
say. That.
well, and I had a black lab that she was pretty fond of, so she was like, she gets the dog as part of the package.
There you go.
Yep. It was the whole deal.
So this might work out. 1 + 1 = 3. Excellent. Well, now the Brown Mountain. Is there really a Brown Mountain? Where did you get the name from?
Yeah.
I like the name.
There is. Yeah. So in Morganton, North Carolina, or near Morganton, there is a mountain called Brown Mountain. And for centuries, people have seen these mysterious ghost lights that show up periodically at night. In fact, we were playing a show this past weekend, and a guy said he'd seen them before, but he was on some stuff when he saw them. So we don't know. But so we were Morganton is halfway between where I'm from and Stokes County, and where he is from, up in Hendersonville. And so it just seemed like a fun little halfway point, and we wanted something that sounded sort of folky and down home, and so that's kind of what we came up with. But I found out later there's a lesser-known Brown Mountain in Stokes County.
Really?
And so people ask about that one a lot. And I'm like, well, that's where I'm from, but it's not that one.
There is another.
There is.
Folkish fuel for your psychedelic soul. I saw that tagline. Describe that for us.
So we mix kind of a little bit of everything. I like to say we mix traditional with trippy. So Zach's really into the Grateful Dead and things like that, and I went to school for music, so I listen to a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And so we incorporate things that are less typical, or until recent years were less typical in the kind of folk and roots scene. So he does a lot of he uses guitar pedals on his banjo and mandolin and things like that. We experiment with some percussion and things like that, just to sort of bring in other elements besides the more traditional things.
Well, Zach, is it true that you were born with a bouzouki?
I wish. It took me 38 years to find one.
What do you think of it?
I really love it. So I first started playing mandolin a few years after I played guitar. And I had heard about this instrument called an Irish bouzouki.
Irish bouzouki.
Yeah, because the bouzouki is originally a Greek instrument, but then in the 70s, some traditional Irish musicians traveled to Greece and found out about the instrument, and then they brought it back home and made their own version. And it's ever so slightly different from the Greek bouzouki. But it's kind of like a giant overgrown mandolin.
Okay.
So if you can play mandolin, you can kind of translate it over. But it's got its own thing, and I really, really love it.
And you played it, I think, that night at 3rd Street. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So what all do you play, Kendra? I know you do several things.
Yes. So mostly I play the rhythm guitar, and I sing. But then I also have what I call the boom tack. And the boom tack? Boom tack, yes.
Explain, please.
So the boom tack is a kick drum, like a kick drum, foot drum sort of thing. It's a box drum, really, but it sounds like a kick drum. And then I have a foot tambourine that I play. I used to have a hi-hat, but then I kind of transitioned away from that to the tambourine, mostly because it was smaller and easier to set up.
Okay, yeah.
So boom, boom, boom. So you got all that going on. And then, Zach, I think I heard you play, besides the bouzouki, the harmonica. Is that right?
Yep.
What else do you play?
Harmonica, electric guitar, electric banjo, and then I didn't have it that night, but I do play a lot of mandolin as well. Okay. And she plays melodica, which I think she played that one that night.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did that night. I remember you saying that. Now, I was telling HB this, so I was looking at your tour dates. You guys, your dance card's pretty full.
Yeah.
I think in the month of June, from last week, you had like 9 more shows. Is that right? You had a lot.
Yeah.
For this month. And the way every town was like Hendersonville, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, Tarboro, North Carolina, Trinity, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, they must have a map in their living room where they put a pin in every city, North Carolina. But is there any city you have not played in North Carolina?
We've hit all the big ones. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, Charlotte, kind of all.
Banner Elk?
Yep, we've played Banner Elk.
Quite a bit there.
We played there. There's a really great little tap room up there called the Blind Elk. We love playing up there. Nice folks run the place, and nice folks come out and listen there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do get around. We've played in some really tiny towns too. So we both enjoy it. We drive more than we play music. But we enjoy just getting out and seeing stuff we haven't seen before.
Well, speaking of that night that we saw you play, tell us, just summarize the story. Is it the bus song or the broken down van song? Summarize that for HB here. It's a good story.
Yeah, so we were doing a tour up the East Coast in 2022. We started the tour from 3rd Street Coffee House. That was our first stop. And we left 3rd Street and just kept driving north. And we had played a show in New York City at Rockwood Music Hall. And we were taking a couple days off because the tour was coinciding right around Zach's birthday. And so we took a couple days off to go camping up in Watkins Glen because he's such a big Grateful Dead fan. He wanted to go see Watkins Glen and see how they fit 160,000 people into that town. And so we were on our way there, and the van started doing some stuff it wasn't supposed to be doing. And so we broke down once in a town called Liberty, and there was kind of a family-owned Ford dealership called Rhea Ford.
Rhea Ford.
And they got us back on the road with a patch, and were just real good to us.
Gave us Krispy
Kreme. It's Dunkin' territory up there, and they gave us Krispy Kreme. So it's like that.
It's a good sign. Right?
Yeah. And they were just really nice. Like I said, family-owned, really friendly people. And that got us to Ithaca, basically. And then in Ithaca, we broke down again. They didn't charge us for the patch or anything because they just weren't sure it was gonna hold and didn't want to put us in an any more inconvenient situation than we were in. And so we made it to Ithaca, and then we had to stay in Ithaca for a few days to get the part ordered and get it fixed. And so we did what musicians do, and I told them at 3rd Street we turned it into entertainment for you.
Yes, that's
It was 3 days out of the dealer warranty too, because it was a used van. You know, and we just bought it to go. Okay, now we've got a safe vehicle to go on tour
Right.
with. Nope.
Yep.
But you end up writing a song about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good song. Now, there's a song. Tell me if you wrote this one. And you introduced it that night at 3rd Street. It was kind of like a breakup song, if I remember right. But it's yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
Yep.
Did y'all write that?
I love that line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that a good
Yeah,
title?
yeah.
And here's what jumped to my ear when you sang it. You said you traded a queen for a pawn.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and some dirty blonde or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out the door, Jack.
Yes.
But it's a wonderful song.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one that I wrote and recorded years ago before we officially became the Brown Mountain
Wow.
Lightning Bugs, and it didn't really fit with our sort of initial style because we were much more traditional when we first started. And then as time has gone on, we've gotten a little more kind of rock influence into what we do, and we were like, well, why don't we try bringing that one back? And people seem to like
Now
it.
it's really a mainstay. Yeah.
Yeah.
For your live shows?
Yeah.
I can see why. It's very good. It popped. When you do your live shows, I mean, how do you decide, okay, well, let's go with this song tonight, or this crowd looks kind of mean, let's go with this song. Or this 3rd Street Coffee House, they look kind of too caffeinated. What do you do?
So we never use a set list. Well, unless we're playing 45 minutes or less, we will use a set list. Outside of that, we never use a set list, and we just get a vibe in the first few minutes of when we're there, and then we pick the first song, and then from there it just goes on to whatever the crowd's reacting to.
So you're kind of gauging the crowd.
Yeah.
And their energy, and then you just kind of...
Feed off of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll pull out a song that we haven't played in 2 or 3 years and do it, or sometimes we'll segue one song into another and stuff like that, just so that way we're always staying engaged and interested ourselves. It's not we never play the same song the same way twice.
Okay.
So,
Well, I really like I said, how you trade vocals, you take turns, your harmonies. Have you ever gotten up there and like, oh, jeepers, I can't remember what the next line is?
well, yeah, for me it's lines, and I have to look at her to get lines and titles, and then she forgets chords and has to look at me to get the chords.
So there's a lot of communication
And
going
that's
on.
probably not unusual for
Oh, yeah.
musicians to do that. So.
Can't believe what I've seen. I've rambled from sea to sea. Why ain't I live like most to be? I've done it alone, but I've done it free. Oh, what I wanted, if you don't, then I don't really mind. Not enough waiting on your daughter. Ain't no one waiting on me. While I find my peace across the water. Hills, they have secrets left to see.
All right, now when you tour, this was interesting too. You went over to the UK and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did you have a proper good reception over there? What was it like over there? What's the crowds like over there when American bands come over there and play? What's it like?
Yeah, we had a great time. And it's kind of funny. The shows that really stick out to me, we played a concert on the peninsula of Kintyre in Scotland. It was a house show out in the country. And country folks are the same the world over.
They
We
are.
felt right at home,
Yeah,
It's just like, any get-together that we've been to around here, just a different accent. And they thought we had the fun accents. And so all night there was one gal who kept coming up to me saying, say this word. Okay, now say that word.
And they got
No.
less
Now do this
PG as the night went along.
they got a little less kid friendly
I
throughout
see.
the more drinks she had, but
Yeah. Let me record it.
yeah, she was having a good time. But
That's
then
funny.
yeah, and so what really kind of blew us away, and I'll kind of let Zach take this one over, was we met a guy in Cork.
Oh yeah. So we came into Ireland. A lot of things had already went wrong on our flight. Just little things, luggage and all kinds of stuff. So we got there at like 2:00 in the morning, which is not when we were supposed to get there. And this other guy was there. They had lost some of our instruments the flight had. They had also lost one of his. Oh. So we kind of started talking and bonding over that. Well, as it turns out, this guy is like the musician guy in Cork, Ireland. And so he started inviting us to all this stuff and making all these connections to other places in town. So we did not sleep very much while we were in Cork because we just kept going to all this stuff that he'd invited us to. Yeah. But it ended up being an incredible experience. We went to this open mic night, and it's just one of the most rejuvenating music experiences I've ever had because... No, this is not the true of everywhere because like 3rd Street is an amazing place. But a lot of the places we play in the States, the music is kind of you're a background noise, you know? Okay. And now, not always, but a lot of places. But that night it was just packed with people playing original music and everybody listening and being really encouraging and stuff. It was amazing.
I know my wife's been to Ireland a couple of times, and she said they're very welcoming to Americans. Yeah. That they're very friendly, and I haven't been, but did y'all experience that, everybody?
Yeah, and in fact, the guy who we met in the airport, his name is Hank Waddell. Check him out. His music is great.
Oh, okay.
And he plays with all kinds of people and does all kinds of stuff. But he's lived there for most of his life, but he's originally from New York. But he's Irish. He just doesn't have the accent. Okay, yeah. But yeah, very, very kind, welcoming, fun people, and they treated our instruments differently in the airport in Ireland than they did in London. Nice. So we flew through London, and they're just throwing things around and getting it out of the way. And in Ireland, they're like, "We're gonna be careful with this one."
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah.
It was just a big noticeable difference.
Yeah. I started looking up, house prices in Ireland.
The funniest story though about the airport is so on the way back we were going through the London airport. And I had my pedal board with me, which is kind of a crazy looking contraption, It's a box full of wires and lights and little boxes and stuff. So I was kind of nervous that somebody was going to have an issue with that. Well, nobody did until on the way back. They wanted to check it out and see what was inside of it. So they had to go get a knife to open the zip tie because I'd zip tied it shut. And this guy, this really big British guy, he's really tall, muscly looking dude, kind of intimidating. And he was all mad about having to get the cutter for it, and he was upset about it. And he opens up my case to see what's inside of it. He has no idea what any of it is. But then he looks and sees one of the pedals, and he starts smiling really big and points his name tag. His name is Enzo, and I have a pedal in my case that's Enzo. And so, but from there on, he was just, oh, no, fine, they're fine. Just let him go ahead.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right. So would y'all go back? I bet you've been invited back maybe to festivals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would love to go back, and... So that's definitely on our radar is something. We made some friends, and in fact, how we kind of sort of got inspired to do it in the first place because we self-booked. We're all DIY. We have no what do they call them back in the Renaissance? We have no patrons. Although if somebody wants to be our patron, we'd welcome it.
A sponsor.
Yeah. So, but there was a radio station in the UK that picked us up randomly a few years ago. Abbey 104, they have a radio show, and Bob Ford there picked us up, and he was kind of the first person to get us in touch with a couple places to play, and he welcomes us back at some point, so hopefully we'll be back over there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when you're not touring North Carolina or New York City or Watkins Glen or Europe, by the way, have you ever been to West Virginia?
We have not played in West Virginia.
Why not?
We've been through there.
I'm from West Virginia.
Well, that's where my dad's whole family is from. So.
Do you remember where?
Bluefield.
Oh yeah, that's about 30 miles from my home, Hinton.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to schedule a festival over there.
All right.
But when you're not on tour, do you what do you do at home? I know you got 2 dogs, Joni and Moon. Mm-hmm. But what do you like to do when you're off, when you're not touring?
So we run a small teaching studio. We teach music lessons. That's called Mud Paw Music. It's down in Winston.
Called what?
Mud Paw Music, after the dogs.
Okay.
And so we do that, and that's kind of what we do on the weekdays. And then we do a lot of hiking. That's one of our big hobbies.
Yeah.
And there's probably one more thing you like to do is video games, right?
Oh yeah, we both do. Yeah.
Now Sonic or Super Mario Brothers? Which
She's the Sonic, I'm the Mario.
Oh.
I think I'm both.
Yeah.
I like all of them.
Well, here's the funny thing, though. Neither one of us really talked about video games the whole time we were dating. We were just like trying to be too cool for school, like we didn't play.
Yeah,
and then we got married, and a few months later, we were like, maybe we should play a video game together. And then suddenly we found out we both loved them. So,
Zach, what's that stack of games you got there? Yeah. Oh, that's so you do video games. Are there any other games out there that we might not have heard of that you like to play?
We, in addition to video games, we love like tabletop board games.
Oh, okay. Traditional.
So we sometimes go to a board game night out in Greensboro that my sister got me into. So we play a lot of those. We play a lot of just kind of like us being small indie musicians. Of course, we play video games made by independent people as well.
Yeah.
So all little ones. I was playing one on the way up here. It's called Dice Folk, and you're a little person, and you have it's kind of like Pokemon, but you roll dice to get your moves and stuff. It's just a fun little game that was made by a small team out in, I think, Peru.
Oh my word! All right. Well, all right. Now, new albums or albums that you got. Zach was telling me that you're getting ready to work on your 4th album.
Yep.
All right. Tell us about your music, and as we get ready to wind down here, what your projects you're working on?
Yes.
Maybe an instrumental, maybe it's jazz music or videos. But tell us what you're working on and how people can find your music.
So we have put out 3 full-length albums and an EP and a bunch of singles that are not on any of those. But we are starting to work on a 4th album right now, just in the very beginning stages. Most of the songs are written, but we haven't actually started tracking too many of them yet. We generally write songs, play them live a bunch, and then put them on albums. Okay. So they get played live way before they ever get recorded most of the time. So we're starting to work on that one. No name or anything just yet. But we did just release a single called Sunny Day, which is really cool. It was a lot of work. But Kendra's working on a cool video for it.
I am. I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm trying my hand at some real basic animation. So you might see an animated music video at some point. It may be a few years before I get it done, though.
We'll be patient, Kate.
Okay. Thank you.
But you guys do have a lot of videos up on YouTube, and we were listening to you on Amazon, right over here, Alexa. And then you're on Spotify too?
Yep. We're basically wherever you stream music, you can probably find us.
Wherever you want to go. Now, HB, do you have any last words? And then I'll give you 2 the last words.
I want to know tour dates. I want to know where you're going to be, if you're going to be back in Roanoke anytime soon. That's my question. But other than that, y'all take over and tell some stuff.
Yeah, we're all over. We have a couple shows coming up. They're not in Roanoke, but we've got a few this month. We have we won a sort of a competition thing called Mayarme Dynamic Duos. I probably mispronounced that. It's a French name, and I was never good at French.
Sounds good.
But so they're doing a series with local duos out of North Carolina, and that's in Durham. Okay. That is a week from today at Huron Stage Music Venue. And then about a week after that, we have a show at the Flatiron in Greensboro with Emily Stewart. I don't know if y'all know her, but she's a fabulous songwriter. Yeah. And then Kyle Caudill and Timberline are playing with us as well.
Okay.
You know what I think, Kendra and Zach? One year, if you haven't tried it already or if you haven't done it, we have Floyd Fest up here. Mm-hmm. We'd love to get you up here for that. I think you'd like
Have you heard?
Yeah,
Of it?
Yeah, we know about it.
We
Yeah.
know about it. We haven't played it yet. If you know anybody,
I'll send you a contact.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gladly. No, we are playing as well, a little bit closer than Greensboro. Maybe we're playing in Stewart at Front Porch Fest in September. Which I've never been to that one. That's a fun one. Really good people pull that one together, and it's one of the nicest festivals we've gotten to play.
And I'm sure we'll be back at 3rd Street at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Because we've played there 4 times now, I think.
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 times.
Yeah, and it's always a really great time. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'll let you two have the last word. Is there anything I forgot or we forgot that you want to highlight or anything else you want to throw out there?
I think y'all got it. Y'all were thorough.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this in closing. Zach and Kendra Harding, Brown Mountain Lightning Bugs, which is a song, by the way.
Yep.
It's a good song.
Thank you.
BMLB.
Yep.
And you know me, I'm down with BMLB. Right, Zach?
Yeah, it works for me.
All right, buddy. Let's
Thank
go
y'all
get it.
so
Thank y'all
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Okay, if I would ever pack your bags.
Miss a segment? Want to hear the interview again? Just watch our YouTube channel.
Slide your pieces across the board. Played this little game before. Don't need my love no more.